Alright, so we finally have Silver Soldier Anby's full kit for Zenless Zone Zero, and so far she's shaping up to be yet another strong DPS character. So today, we're going to go over Silver Anby's full kit and overall value to see whether or not you should be pulling for her on your account. So, Silver Soldier Anby is an electric attack character, and her basic attack is pretty straightforward. It is a 5-hit basic attack like a lot of characters have, but after the 4th hit of her basic attack, you can actually hold down the attack button to pass through enemies up to 5 times. And this can be good mainly just for repositioning, so that you can get more value out of grouping enemies together if you have like one enemy in front of you and one behind you, so that they can both be in front of you so you can get your actual combos off. Then for her special attack, the actual attack here is pretty straightforward, but there are some important mechanics behind it. So whenever Silver Anby hits enemies, she will apply a silver star mark to these enemies, and this mark can charge up to 3 times. Every time you charge the mark, that enemy will also be inflicted with 1 stack of White Thunder. And White Thunder is honestly the more important of the two, because whenever an enemy has White Thunder, you can use Anby's special attack again to trigger an Aftershock attack to deal additional electric damage to them. And Aftershock is a new mechanic starting with Silver Anby and also Pulchra, who are coming out at the same time, where it basically is an additional proc of damage. And this is a really interesting mechanic. We'll see how they implement it beyond the 1.6 characters, since all 3 of them do have it. And for Silver Anby applying this Aftershock hit, it will consume 1 White Thunder stack. And additionally, when the Aftershock from White Thunder triggers 3 times on the same enemy, a 4th additional Aftershock attack will be dealt to that enemy for even more damage. So Silver Anby does have some pretty interesting burst windows, despite how much she wants to be on field. Then for her EX special, it just has a stronger damage multiplier than the regular special, and unlike the normal attacks that will only give 1 White Thunder, this will actually fully charge the Silver Star mark, which will give 3 White Thunder stacks to the enemies that are hit by the EX special, making it so that you can quickly go in, use her energy for the EX special, and then you can take advantage of the 3 White Thunder hits into the additional Aftershock as well from hitting all 3. Now to move on to Silver Anby's chain attack and ultimate. They are pretty straightforward and not very many mechanics on them, but the one thing to note about the ultimate is that it will actually fully charge the Silver Star mark, which similarly to the EX special will give 3 White Thunder stacks to the enemies that are hit. So that'll be another way to get another burst window for her to get those 3 White Thunders onto the enemy. Next up for Silver Anby's core passive, she deals 25% increased damage to any enemies that have the Silver Star mark, and when enemies have Silver Star, any Aftershock attacks will deal additional crit damage to them equal to 30% of Silver Anby's crit damage. And this is very good if you pair her as well with other characters that can do Aftershocks, especially Trigger and Pulchra, who are coming out in this patch, because you're going to be getting some extra damage on their Aftershocks as well. Then to wrap up the base kit, we have Silver Anby's additional ability, and the condition for this is to have either a stun or support ally on the team. Very good that she has a pretty universal additional ability as well, so that does give her a lot more team building options. With this additional ability, Silver Anby gets an unconditional 10% crit rate increase, and whenever an enemy has Silver Star mark while Silver Anby is the active character, all allies will deal an additional 25% Aftershock damage. And this is mainly going to be good for like supporting kind of characters like stunners who can do Aftershock, because if they can do it off the field, they'll be able to benefit from this a lot because Silver Anby has to be the active character. So that is it for Silver Anby's core kit here. So now let's move on into her Mindscapes as well, for players who might want to do a little bit of vertical investment on her. So Silver Anby's M1 focuses on her EX special. So whenever the EX special hits an enemy, it's going to activate the Aftershock effect of the White Thunder stacks 3 times, which is going to consume all 3 stacks, meaning that you are able to apply those Aftershock hits faster, so you have faster burst windows, and because you're using all 3 stacks of White Thunder, you're also going to activate that additional Aftershock hit as well, which just means you're going to have a much faster burst window on it, which is very nice, honestly. So you can just get more damage more quickly, especially if you are doing it during a stun, because some of these stun windows are pretty short. Then for her M2, Silver Anby gets an unconditional 12% crit rate buff, and whenever using her ultimate, she'll gain 6 stacks of Thunder's Cry. Thunder's Cry stacks can be used in place of White Thunder stacks to activate Aftershock, and only one Thunder's Cry can be used per skill usage. So basically, Thunder's Cry is a substitute for the White Thunder stacks, meaning that with M2, you can get the additional Aftershock for hitting 3 White Thunders. You can get that 3 times per ultimate, since the ultimate also does stack White Thunder up. So that is a lot of extra damage and really going to increase the amount of burst damage that Silver Anby can do. Then her M4 is going to allow her to ignore 12% of the enemy's electric resistance when that enemy has Silver Star on them, which should pretty much happen all the time. And then lastly for M6, upon triggering the Aftershock damage of White Thunder 6 times, it's going to trigger an additional Aftershock attack that is based on 1000% of Silver Anby's attack, which just further increases her burst windows as well. So that is everything there for her Mindscapes. So now let's talk about her overall value here and whether or not you should be pulling. So I think that Silver Anby, from what we know now, she is going to be a very strong on-field DPS and a pretty unique on-field DPS where she is also a burst DPS at the same time. Because while she's not going to be dealing a ton of damage all the time, once you get her with all of the White Thunder stacks, you're going to be able to do a nice burst of damage. And I think that with that, she's probably not going to be quite on Miyabi's level, but I think it's probably going to be a very similar situation as Evelyn, who, with really good investment and like the best possible scenario, she can start to reach into the realm that Miyabi stands in, which I think is fine for the game as well, kind of basing everything around a relative power level as opposed to making sure like, oh, this new character has to do better than all the other ones. So I think it's fine for her to be like number 2 or number 3 DPS in the game, but overall she is pretty good. Now when it comes to team building, she does have very obvious synergy with characters that have Aftershock, but I don't think that these characters are going to be necessary for her to perform well, but they are absolutely going to be her best partners. And right now, the only other Aftershock characters are the ones coming out this patch, being Trigger and Pulchra. Thankfully, we are getting Pulchra for free, and I am going to have a separate video about her as well. But even if you don't want to use Pulchra or you aren't pulling Trigger, I'm sure any other low field time stunners will also be good, just because you don't want to take away too much field time from Silver Anby. And then when it comes to supports, pretty sure most of them will be very good. Astra Yao, Caesar, Nicole with her defense shred. I do think that a lot of them will just be good overall because of the fact that Silver Anby's additional ability can activate with any support as well, or any stunner. So you do have a lot of options that are going to be able to make her do more damage. So when it comes to the pull value, I think that if you need another strong DPS on your account, or you want an electric DPS that's easier to play, I think Silver Anby is going to be a great character to pick up. And the reason I bring up the ease of playing is because pretty much every player has Harumasa, who's given out for free. And he is one of the more skill heavy characters, so if you aren't playing him optimally, you see his damage and his performance suffer a lot more than other characters. So if you want someone who's going to perform very well with less emphasis on you playing optimally, Silver Anby can be a very good character. Or if your account is just, lacking on DPSs or lacking on electric characters or good electric characters in general, then Silver Anby could be a pretty solid pickup. But I think that if your account has enough strong DPS characters and you're not really looking to have a DPS, on your account, I think, maybe hold off, because I wouldn't call her like a must pull in every situation. But I think for the players who need more, good DPSs on their account, I think Silver Anby is going to be great. But at the same time, if you can go a bit longer without a DPS and instead want to invest in something like a stunner like Trigger, or maybe even a support as well, and some of the reruns that are coming up as well are pretty good for 1.6, so there are going to be some pretty solid options there if you don't want to go with Silver Soldier Anby if she doesn't mesh well enough with the way your account is right now. So that is everything I have there for Silver Soldier Anby. I'm still conflicted for myself on whether or not I'm going to pull for her a Trigger. I might end up pulling, just skipping completely and waiting for Vivian, who I might make a video about as well because she does have a new specialty and attribute combination. So that'll actually be pretty cool. So let me know down in the comments below what you all think about Silver Anby. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed and want to see more content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But with that, everyone, I will see you all next time.